Picture this. The year is 1900. A group of sponge divers sails near the small Greek island of Antikythera. The sea is rough, but they are experts at diving for sponges. One diver plunges deep into the clear blue water. He expects sponges. Instead, he sees the shadow of a wrecked ship, a trading ship, long lost to the sea. Statues, amphorae, and treasures litter the seafloor. The divers return to the surface, eyes wide, gasping for air. They tell their captain, "There's a ship down there full of wonders." The Greek government is alerted. Soon, a salvage operation begins. The divers bring up bronze statues, marble figures, and luxury goods. Athens buzzes with excitement at the finds, yet among the treasures lies something odd. A corroded lump of green bronze, small and unimpressive. Archaeologists barely pay attention to it at first, who would compare to statues of gods. But this lump will change history. It will be known as the Antikythera Mechanism. In 1902, archaeologist Valerio Stay studies the fragments. He notices something strange. Inside the corroded bronze, there are gears. Bronze, gears and shared ones. This shouldn't exist. Ancient Greeks made statues, temples, and weapons. But precision gears, that was a shock. Stay proposes it's some kind of astronomical device. His colleagues laugh. Possible, they say. For decades, the fragments sit in museums. Scholars dismiss the idea of ancient high technology. The gears seem too advanced. Some think it's a navigational tool. Others call it a clock. Some even suspect it's a hoax. After all, nothing like it was ever found again. So, the mechanism is mostly forgotten. It's collecting dust behind glass, waiting for someone to take it seriously. That chance comes in the mid-20th century. In the 1950s, scientist Derek J. DeSala Price takes interest. Price is a historian of science. He loves mysteries like this, carefully examines the fragments. With X-rays, he peers inside the corroded bronze. What he finds astonishes him. Dozens of gears with teeth cut in perfect precision, ancient engineering far beyond sundials or astrolabes. This was not a toy. Price writes about it in 1959. He calls it a computer from antiquity, a bold claim at the time. Few believe him. How could Greeks of 100 BCE build something like this? The Romans didn't. The Chinese didn't. Even medieval Europe wouldn't see such gears for centuries. Yet here it was, proof of lost genius. The device fascinates researchers. They begin to piece together its fragments. Slowly, the gears reveal a story. The mechanism was once a box, like a clock, with dials and rotating hands on the outside, each gear connected to another in complex sequences, like a miniature machine of the cosmos. This wasn't decoration. It had purpose. Ancient engineers had designed it to calculate. But calculate what? Theories abound. Some say it tracked the calendar. Others think it measured the zodiac. Price believes it predicted astronomical events, like eclipses. Imagine a pocket cosmos built of bronze. Turn the crank and the heavens move. Planets, the sun, the moon all, in gear-driven harmony. Ancient Greece 2 millennia ago had this. True, history books would need rewriting, but proof was hard to come by. Many gears were missing. Others were fused together by centuries underwater. Scholars argued about its exact function. Was it a calendar, an eclipse predictor, or something else? The mystery deepened. Yet one thing was clear. This was no ordinary artifact. It showed skill, precision, and knowledge, lost to time. Knowledge we thought the ancients never had. Antikythera Mechanism was ahead of its era. Imagine holding it in your hands, turning its crank, watching bronze hands move, knowing the ancients could track the sky with it, predict eclipses before they happened, follow the movements of planets. It was a time machine in reverse-linking past and cosmos. And yet it remained broken, fragmented, incomplete. Riddle, half solved, half hidden. The true brilliance of the mechanism was still to come. Decades passed after Price's early studies. But the Antikythera Mechanism didn't stop puzzling people. Scientists wanted more answers. The fragments were too fragile to take apart, so new technology had to step in. In the early 2000s, a team gathered in Athens. They brought powerful X-ray tomography machines able to see inside metal without breaking it. The mechanism was about to reveal secrets hidden for 2,000 years, piece by piece, layer by layer. The scans stunned researchers. They revealed fine inscriptions, invisible to the naked eye. Tiny Greek letters carved along the mechanism's surface, like an instruction manual frozen in bronze. More than 2,000 characters were deciphered. They spoke of eclipses, cycles, and calendars. It was not random, it was precise. The ancients had left notes for the future, like a lost textbook of astronomy, except this textbook had gears instead of pages. The gears themselves told stories. More than 30 gears were identified, some as small as coins, teeth cut with incredible precision. They formed trains of motion. One gear turned another, which turned another. Multiplying ratios, sinking cycles. The main dial at the front showed the zodiac, displayed the sun and moon traveling across it. A smaller dial showed lunar phases, complete with a clever trick for accuracy. The moon doesn't orbit Earth in a perfect circle. It speeds up and slows down slightly. The mechanism accounted for this. With a Pinance lock gear system, designed so advanced it wasn't seen again until medieval Europe. Yet here it was, in a device dated to around 100 BCE, a leap in engineering no one expected. It's almost like someone had skipped ahead in time and then built the future out of bronze. Centuries before anyone else. On the back of the device were more dials. 2 spiral scales wound like records. One tracked the Metonic cycle, a 19-year calendar, essential for matching lunar months to solar years. Another tracked the Saros cycle, a cycle of about 18 years, used to predict eclipses. Turn the crank, and the dial told you when the next eclipse would come. Solar or lunar, months in advance. Ancient Greek scientists had built a forecast machine. Imagine being able to predict an eclipse in 150 BCE. No computers, no satellites, only bronze gears hidden in a wooden box. Yet it worked. The device even described where the eclipse would occur, in which part of the sky, and whether the moon would appear red. All carved into those tiny inscriptions. A full astronomical toolkit. More surprises emerged. The device had planetary pointers too, showing the movements of Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, the known planets of the ancient world. Each tracked with complex gear ratios. It wasn't just a lunar calendar. It was a planetarium in a box, a handheld cosmos. The Greeks didn't just watch the sky, they mechanized it. This suggested deep knowledge of astronomy, an equally deep knowledge of mechanics. The gears were hand-cut, yet incredibly precise. The tolerances rivaled 18th century clocks, but these gears were made 2,000 years earlier, by craftsmen whose names we don't know. How did they gain such skill? Is this a one-time genius invention, or part of a lost tradition of devices now vanished? That question still haunts historians. Some researchers point to Archimedes. He lived a century earlier. He wrote about mechanical models of the heavens. Could the Antikythera Mechanism be a descendant of his work? Others think it was built in Rhodes, a hub of astronomy and engineering at the time. Famous thinkers like Hipparchus lived there. Hipparchus calculated the moon's orbit with great accuracy. His math matches what the mechanism encodes. Perhaps his knowledge was literally geared into bronze. Whoever built it, their genius was undeniable. The Antikythera Mechanism was far more than a curiosity. It was the most sophisticated artifact of the ancient world. No other object comes close, not until 1,000 years later, with medieval clockmakers, which makes its existence even stranger. A lone spark of brilliance, far ahead of its time, and then silence, as if the knowledge was lost, leaving only fragments to whisper across the centuries. Today, the Antikythera Mechanism sits in the National Archaeological Museum of Athens. Tourists walk past golden masks and marble statues, but the corroded bronze fragments draw hushed awe. People lean closer, trying to imagine it whole. A box of gears that rewrote history. It has become a symbol of lost knowledge. Proof that ancient civilizations were more advanced than we assumed. Not magical, not alien human genius, but genius that somehow disappeared, leaving us to wonder how much else is gone. The mechanism inspires scientists. Engineers marvel at its precision. Astronomers admire its accuracy. Historians debate its origins. Even philosophers weigh in. What does progress really mean? It also inspires artists. Novels describe it as a lost treasure of Atlantis. Movies and games imagine it as a key to cosmic secrets. Writers call it the world's first computer, a poetic title that sticks. But beyond poetry, the mechanism forces real questions. If one survived, were there more? Did Greek scientists build a series of them? Were they gifts to kings, tools for sailors, or teaching devices? Or was this one unique and outlier of brilliance? The shipwreck itself is mysterious. Why was the mechanism on board? Was it being delivered to a wealthy patron? Or stolen, bound for Rome as plunder? No. The sea swallowed its story before anyone could write it down. In the modern world, the Antikythera Mechanism challenges our view of history. We like neat timelines. Progress step by step. Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age, Industrial Age. But the mechanism disrupts that order. It's a leap forward, surrounded by centuries of nothing. That discontinuity fascinates dreamers. Did whole technologies vanish with forgotten wars? Did libraries burn with blueprints inside? Or their what-ifs will never recover? The mechanism feels like a survivor of a hidden age. Conspiracy theories also thrive around it. Some claim it's proof of ancient aliens. Others suggest time travelers left it behind. These ideas aren't taken seriously by science, but they show how mysterious it feels, even today. For scientists, the real wonder is human. The mechanism proves the ancients could think like us. Not crude, not primitive, but curious, precise, and ambitious. They looked at the sky and decided to build it in gears. That connection across millennia is powerful. A Greek engineer, long forgotten, cut those gears. They never imagined their work would end up in a museum or be studied by X-rays. Yet here we are, still trying to understand their mind. Modern reconstructions bring it to life. Researchers build replicas of the mechanism. Brass gears turn, dials spin, pointers glide. For the first time in 2 millennia, it ticks again. Audiences gasp when they see it working. Teachers use it to show ancient science wasn't simple. Engineers use it to explain gear ratios. Astronomers marvel at its predictive accuracy. Museums display 3D printed copies. The mechanism has become a global teaching tool. Yet even with reconstructions, mysteries remain. Parts are missing. We don't know the original casing. Some dials may be lost forever. What we call the Antikythera Mechanism is still incomplete, and that incompleteness drives curiosity. It leaves room for imagination. Every missing gear is a question. Every inscription half-read is a puzzle. The mechanism remains a riddle machine. Its cultural impact keeps growing. Documentaries call it the world's first analog computer. Universities hold conferences about it. Tech companies use it as a metaphor for innovation. Even NASA scientists reference it when talking about space probes. Why does it fascinate us so much? Maybe because it proves history isn't flat. Progress isn't linear. Great leaps can happen and be lost. That idea feels both inspiring and haunting. The Antikythera Mechanism also reminds us of humility. For centuries we thought ancient people were primitive, then a corroded lump from the sea told us otherwise. Maybe we underestimate the past too often. Maybe there are still wonders buried out there. Scientists continue searching the Antikythera wreck. Dives bring up coins, statues, and tools. But no second mechanism. If another exists, it lies waiting in the deep, hidden like its twin for millennia. Until then, the fragments in Athens speak. They whisper of eclipses and planets, of a genius long gone but never forgotten. A bronze computer echoing through history.
That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you raise an eyebrow don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that dusty little bell so you never miss another echo from the past. Drop it in the comments. We're always listening for new echoes. Got a weird bit of history you think we should cover? Until next time, keep your curiosity loud and your history weird.